Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is answering your financial questions live. Episode number 200. And we have audio, which is always good. I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you are having money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com. My financial content is right under the Oak Island playlist on my page, youtube.com/coachstevemoney. You'll see the Ramsey Show After Show and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. And the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, including When You Run Baby Step 2, No Spending Money to Seem Cool, Bum Bum, When You Run Baby Step Down. So listen to those if you are so inclined. Let's do some questions. See if this is more comfortable, since I don't need to hear, it's just you need to use the mic. This is from Ross, Space Ross Dash. Just paid off $40,000 consolidation loan 3 years early. The paying off early is good. The getting the consolidation loan at all is not the advice. A lot of people get the consolidation loan and then they chill out. They're not gazelle intense because they've made it easier for them to perhaps with a lower payment overall, rather than keeping all the other payments from the individual loans. Instead of now you're consolidated them, and that payment might be lower, and so you might be less gazelle, and it may actually not work out for you. If you do pay it off early, then probably it does work out for you mathematically. But that's not the advice, again, because you're not supposed to feel comfortable. You are supposed to be stressed out about your debt and pay it off quickly. And this person did that despite taking out the consolidation loan. So was still gazelle. And so, again, not the advice, but after you get the consolidation loan, then there you are. And so from there, the best thing you can do is just pay it off early. And the person did. So good job. And don't be changing any other advice. Chrissy Mac 888, switching to a budget mobile carrier. Yes, do that. I've been looking through my expenses and cutting what I don't need. Great. That is part of doing the budget. That is part of baby step 0. I decided to look at budget cell phone carriers, indeed. And from what I see, the major ones, AT&T, Verizon, etc., are highway robbery. They are. Highly recommend Mint Mobile. I have had them for years and years and years. I also don't have a freaking $1,300 brand new iPhone either. You do not need that. My phone, I think, was like $178. You pay for it in cash. You do not finance it through one of these companies. That's dumb as crap. And again, using these companies, it is highway robbery, because you can get it for $25 a month from Mint. Or they use the T-Mobile towers. Verizon uses the Visible. Visible is and they might be a subsidiary of Verizon, which Mint Mobile is now a subsidiary of T-Mobile. So Visible might be a subsidiary of Verizon. Who knows? But anyway, either way, it's cheaper. So for the same service. So why not do that? So just people are nutty, just falling into those traps, thinking they need a freaking iPhone and always get the newest one. You need a new one every 1 or 2 years. No, you don't. No, you do not. You don't need the one that folds on itself. You don't need that. You don't need to have folding glass. Not needed. Actually, I don't think iPhone has that. I think that's only on some Android phones. But yes, definitely do that. That's a way to save money on your expenses. Entire objective, moving back in with parents to pay down debt. Not advised. Mr. Ramsey likes adults to live on their own. But let's see, what's a 30-year-old female moved out of my parents' house in May 2024. So that means 28. So already late for leaving the first time, and now you want to be back. So we're only gone for what, a year and a half. You moved out, and you can't cut it in the year and a half. What's the problem? Been living by myself since then. Yeah, what's the problem? Again, I am also in a long-term relationship with my boyfriend who has his own place. Great. Boyfriend and I were planning on getting a place of our own when my lease is up, which is in May of 2026. After thinking about it, I came to the conclusion that I think I'm going to move back in with my parents to pay down debt. My boyfriend doesn't have any debt right now, and he should never get any. But I do. My biggest goal this year was to get a promotion, which I recently did. Congratulations on that. And pay down debt. But I feel like for me, it's not going anywhere really. And I truly believe moving back in my parents for 6 months would make... Okay, so it's not going anywhere really? What does that mean? That means even though you have the promotion and theoretically are making more money, you're not paying off debt as fast as you would like. Maybe you need to cut out some more stuff from your budget instead of move back in with mommy and daddy. So that's not going to be the Ramsey advice. Sorry. Tough accident, 5166, financial advice, retirement. And also because you may not have learned to live effectively on your own in the year and a half you've been out of there. But you have been living on your own. You might not have learned how to do it efficiently. And so by giving up and moving back in with parents, that's not going to help you learn how to live efficiently on your own. Tough accident, 5166, financial advice, retirement. Any advice for a 40-year-old women? Okay, it's WOMAN for woman, for one. If it's more than one, it's women with the E like you spelled it. Just now starting life. No, if you're 40 years old, you've already started life, like about 40 years ago. So I don't know what this dumb crap is. You've already started life. I just opened my first credit card 6 months ago. Not the advice. I now have 6 and credit score is still low. Okay, you're on the wrong, the financial advice. And for retirement, yes, save for retirement. No, don't use credit cards. Not sure how you got on the Dave Ramsey subreddit without knowing that he's the no debt guy. So, maybe a troll. Who knows? But that's going to be a NAR from Mr. Ramsey on the credit cards and from Coach Steve Money as well. I collect with 2 T's. Buying more rental properties to retire, worth getting back in investment debt. Investment debt is not ever the advice ever to do it the first time, much less to get back into it. So that's going to be a no. Just want to check the sound. Okay. Yep. Make sure I'm not too loud. But yeah, We were extremely frugal, etc. I don't care about any of the rest of this crap and any of your things you're going to say to say, well, this is what I want to do. You can do whatever the crap you want to do. Investment debt, that's a no. Debt, he's not in addition to being the no debt guy. Mr. Ramsey is also the no debt leverage guy, so that's a no, my friend. So you're doing it wrong. Good luck to you trying to do it. Looking to retire in approximately 8 years. You'd go into investment debt, buying properties. Could go either way. Sometimes people make money on it. Sometimes they don't. It's not 100% guaranteed. So that is not the advice. So no debt leverage, no investment debt. There is no such thing as good debt. Been watching too many Financial Bro videos on the TikTok maybe. Or just listening to the average person, average financial advisor is going to advise you to use debt. Which Illustrator? I don't know which one. Torn between paying off debt and moving out. Well, would you do both? I recently read The Total Money Makeover and really like Dave's approach. Well, great. His approach is that adults do not live with mommy and daddy. It's simple and makes sense, but part of me feels like, for me, if I follow it strictly, I won't be living life the way I want to. Will make up your mind. You said you really like Dave's approach, but you don't want to live that way? You're saying two different things at the same time. So here's the beauty of it, you get to pick. You don't have to do the Ramsey advice. Most people will not do it because it involves sacrifice and such like that. And is that the part that you don't want to do and you want to live your life without sacrificing dumb crap? Still, I absolutely hate being in debt. Well, again, make up your mind. You cannot have both. Like, for example, you cannot save the money and also spend it on dumb crap or even not dumb crap. You can't do both. You have to pick one or the other and want to get rid of it as soon as possible. As soon as possible is the Ramsey approach that you just said you liked. 27, work a full-time job, also building a business on the side. Right now I'm living with my parents, not advised by Mr. Ramsey, sir. So I don't pay any rent is my situation. None of that matters. You just get to decide. The idea is that you do not live with mommy and daddy if you are 27 years old. Also, why did you take out dumbass debt in the first place? That's part of baby step 0 is where you decide you're not doing debt anymore and you're going to get rid of it as fast as possible. And that may mean you don't get to live life the way you want to for a while. It's not forever. It's just for a hashtag season, as they like to say on the show, ever since John Deloney started. Either it's a coincidence that they started saying that when he got there, or he brought that term to the Ramsey show when he arrived there, saying that things are just for a season, and that doesn't mean 3 months. That just means for a short time. Specialist Quail, 500. All right. Baby step 2. Mom, baby, step down. And I'm not sure which debt to pay off first. Smallest to largest. Next question. It's in the baby steps. It says it right there. It's been a while since I've done a show, like a week or something maybe. Maybe not quite that long. No, I think I did one Monday. Of all the debt except the house using the debt snowball means smallest to largest. So no, they have not changed it while I was not doing shows. So yeah. Interest rate doesn't matter. That's the beauty of it. Ramsey advice is very simple, but people always want to try to find a way they think they can do it better. And so the calculator is not the final word on the Ramsey advice, mostly because personal finance is, as they say in Ramseyverse, the Ramseyverse is that it is 80% behavior, only 20% head knowledge is personal finance. Snippy June, yeah. Oh no, Snippy Jim, my bad. Do you rebalance your retirement investment? And if so, how often? My pal Sid called about this. And I think this has been asked recently, like in the past 3 months. I think like 2 other times this has been asked. So it's interesting. And I don't recall like ever seeing it before. Excuse me. So my pal Sid was wondering about that. So she called up the Ramsey show and asked Dave, and that her thinking about that. I believe whoever the co-host was, I don't remember who the co-host was that day, but made some kind of reference to her being a nerd, or Dave said she was a nerd first, and then he called her, she's a wonderful nerd. Because, thinking about things that are, that could possibly matter there. And so the answer, though, to this, to rebalance, and what that means is, because he says to invest in a 4-way split, 25% each in small cap, mid cap, large cap, and international. Like, for example, probably your large cap is going to significantly even out earn the other categories, and so that's going to be a lot more in there. But as far as that, and that particular thing never would have occurred to me, because I would think that, well, you just leave, if it's making the most money, you let it reinvest in where it's making the most money. Now, of course, you can have down days and all that, and it is in the 4-way split so that it all balances out. Like, perhaps if the large cap has issues, which it really hasn't for the past 20 years, it's even beaten the S&P 500 index. The NASDAQ has for, again, 17 out of the last 20 years. Kicking its butt. And so the people that just do S&P 500, dumb. You should be doing managed mutual funds that beat the index. And even if you are going to just do index, just doing S&P 500, you're leaving a lot of money on the table by not doing any NASDAQ, at least. But as far as this, what he said was, you don't have to do it often. Maybe you do it 3 times in your entire life. So she was like, oh gosh, trying to remember how old she is. Late 20s maybe. Let's just pretend she's 30. So 30 to 30. So that's 30 years. So maybe once every 10 years for her to do that. But yeah, I don't, and I'm different, of course, because I'm special. I'm a special exception, because if you're old like I am, and you got started late, Dave is fine if you are more aggressive than the 4-way split. And so I have a bunch more in a large cap, and so I definitely wouldn't. I'm already out of balance, so I wouldn't try to rebalance probably ever. No need. But yeah, so just, it's not something where you have to, oh, this made a little bit more this month, oh, I got to have them all be equal. No, you don't have to like do that. You don't have to worry about that every single year, or not even every single 5 years. Like he said, maybe 3 times in your entire lifetime to do that. Turbulent Ear 4451, how to put that, and I don't know if she did it. I should ask her if she did it and get back to you on that. How to put this type of debt in every dollar budget, no clue probably. Oh, back taxes from underpaying to the IRS and state income tax. That was dumb, wasn't it? I don't see that option for the required type of debt. What should I do? You don't see, it would just be tax. Would just be taxes. I mean, and if not, if they don't have an option for that, put it as something else then. And IRS goes first. That's an exception to the smallest to largest doctrine. Interesting. Add 9626, and as we know, if it has AD in it, add, we know that it was probably a suggested username from the Reddit. Should I pay off 7K debt with my 17K investment? Yes, if it's not in a retirement account. It doesn't matter that it's an investment. What matters is if it's in a retirement account or not. If it's in a retirement account, you don't touch it till retirement. If it's just in a brokerage account where you're doing extra investing, then yes, you would. Again, remember back a few questions ago when I said Dave is also not only the no debt guy, he's the no debt leverage guy. And the question about investment debt. This is investment debt. This person has 7K in debt now, so he can have 17K investment instead of just 10K investment. So that's debt leverage. If you keep debt at the same time where you have any kind of savings or investments, that's debt leverage. That's not in a retirement account. If it's in a retirement account, you have said this is for retirement, and so you leave it there. You do not tap retirement before retirement age. You do not tap home equity until you sell the house. I currently owe only 7K, but want to get rid of it all at once. Should I use my 17K investment to pay it off? Right? You'll only need 7 of that, not the whole thing. And reinvest the funds. What does that mean? Or pay it off slowly. Any advice will do. Well, that's pretty easy. If any advice will do. And that shouldn't be, you shouldn't say that because some people will tell you, no, go ahead and debt leverage. And that's not the Dave Ramsey doctrine, as I say before. Doctrine's a fun word, isn't it? Should I use my 17K investment to pay it off and reinvest the funds? What the heck do you mean reinvest the funds? You would have to use, so you would have to cash out 7K of that investment. And, well, you would do more than that. So theoretically, you should also not have a full emergency fund yet. So you should use the emergency fund as well. But since you have you can leave, if you have a full emergency fund, you can leave that because you can get out of debt immediately by cashing out 7K of this investment if it's not in a retirement account. And then you'll have 10K still in there, so I don't understand this reinvestment stuff. You mean as you make another 7K, then you put it in there? Is that what you mean? So yeah, that's fine to do after you have the full emergency fund. Out of debt, because you shouldn't be investing at all until you are out of debt and have the full emergency fund. So how about, I got a great idea. How about we follow the baby steps instead of doing it our own little way that we've been doing it? I mean, you obviously Googled Dave or found out about him a way, and normally that way is that you have money problems that you do not like. Or you have debt and you decided you don't like it and you typed in pay off debt and Mr. Ramsey's name came up, and that's probably how you find out about him. Most people would do that, would find out about him that way. So apparently that was a problem. So I got a great idea. Why don't we follow his advice instead of going to TikTok to get the financial bro advice of debt leverage and such, which is not the Ramsey advice. This is from Nope 90323. Mortgage question. I have a mortgage answer. 18 years ago, my wife and I were gifted $20,000 in stock. Again, if it's not in a retirement account, which you would do this with single stocks at all, anywhere, Mr. Ramsey not a fan of those. He would tell you no matter what they're in, retirement account, a brokerage account, you sell them and you buy manage funds instead. Manage funds. Yeah. Manage mutual funds instead of having single stocks, because single stocks are too much risk, because you don't get the diversity. That stock has grown to 150K. How many? 18 years ago? Excellent. That was probably might be a large cap stock, maybe. That's good. 20 to 15K in 18 years. Great. We have 172K and 21 years left on our mortgage. If that stock reached enough after capital gain tax to pay it off, should we, assuming the two meet in the next 5 or so years? No, you don't wait for it to meet. You would take the 150 out now and pay it off. So you take the 150, pay the capital gains tax on that, and you pay off the house. Because guess what, my friend? Let's, instead of trying to get the baby steps to work to your little situation that you're doing and your little preferences that you're doing here, how about we take your question and we mold your life to the baby steps? How about we do that? So that means, guess what? You theoretically, from the context of the question, you have baby steps 1, 2, and 3 done. You don't have any non-mortgage debt. You do have the full emergency fund. And theoretically, you are investing 15% of household income into retirement. And now, as far as investing, it doesn't say, oh yeah, and also have side investments accounts. Also open a brokerage account for more investing. No, you don't do that. I wonder when you would do that. Save for kid college. That doesn't mean save extra in a brokerage account, although I guess you could if you didn't want to do an ESA, or if it was specifically for kid college. But it just sounds to me like you want extra investing. And oh look, pay off your home early. Oh, and then build wealth and give. Okay, so build wealth and give seems like that would be a good time to do extra investing other than the 15%. So yeah, no extra investing is what this means. No extra investing until your house is paid off. You should not have an investment. And people do this all the time. Again, this is debt leverage. By having that investment and not paying the house off early, you're debt leveraging your house. So that's going to be a no on that. And to fix that, you liquidate that and put it towards the house. And then you have 20-some thousand left on the house. Great. Knock that out quick. And then you will be on baby step 7, as long as you have satisfied step 5, if that applies to you. So, and then at that point, you can open a brokerage account and put money in there and buy whatever investment you want, or you can invest more for retirement in your retirement account. You can go over the 15. You don't go over the 15 either until your house is paid off early. See, how about you follow this list if you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit and not try to get this list to bend towards what you want to do, which I think is happening here. And see, because you didn't even think about, oh, I could just liquidate that 150K and yeah, I'll have to pay capital gains on it. But that's still probably going to be 30 or 20K, something like that. And then that would cut the mortgage significantly. So you're doing it wrong. You should, I mean, it was a gift, sure, but you should not be having it. You should not be having it in that form. Even if it's a gift, you should have sold it immediately and put that money on whatever baby step you have, because you're not on having stock in a non-retirement account yet. That's not part of that 15% investing. That would be a NAR from Mr. Ramsey if he were Australian. Mike, Big Dog 12342, take the job or keep looking. How about both? If you have been looking a while, especially if you've been looking a while, if it's been a couple of months, hey man, take the job and keep looking if it's a job you think that's beneath you or you think there's a better job out there. You can do both. I'm 24, no kids, no debt, vehicle paid off, and after smart financial decisions by doing the beans and rice and beans thing, I was able to save roughly 5 or so years worth of expenses in the bank just in a single year. What does year mean? And half of saving along with pretty stout retirement already. I was going to use it for a house down payment, but due to layoffs, that's my buffer. But I haven't had to touch a cent of it since unemployment is paying enough. Take the job. If it's been, like I said, if it's been over a month, that's probably time to start thinking about taking the job that you were offered, even if that's not your first choice to do. Even if you think it's beneath you, you freaking do it. Get the job. It doesn't matter how much money you have already. You should do that. And that way, if you take that job, then you're bringing money in and you don't have to use the money, your house down payment money, and you can still buy a house of like you apparently wanted to do. Did we not want to do that anymore just because you got laid off? Anyway, 2 months ago I got laid off. I don't need the story. You already said what's going on. I have no usable skills to help land another job, so I was going to go back to school to get some sort of skill or just try to. School is not always the answer either. You didn't say what you were doing, but of course you have experience in that, so you could try looking for that. But what kind of job is it that, I'm not going to click on the rest of it because it doesn't matter. The advice is always the same. Get your butt back to work is the advice. Seahawk fan, 12th man. 12th man is a thing. That would be the people in the stands or the 12th man. You can't have 12. You can only have 11 on the field at one time. But the people in the stands are so loud that they are like a 12th man. And so that's what that is about. Tips to loosen up. This is probably about being too frugal and staying gazelle intense, even though you're well past the first 3 baby steps, which in that case, you should be spending more money. You should be doing like these people that are talking about, but I don't want to live that way. I hate debt, but I don't want to live that way. Make up your darn mind again, as I said. Little background, grew up with high earners. Earners and overspenders. Yup. Well, that's the way it happens a lot of time. Make a lot of money, but also spend too much money. Wife and I are 29, make around 10K a month combined after taxes. Spend around 2.2K a month, going up to 2.5K. Do 2, I guess. Go do 2 and missing 2 words there. 2 an apartment upgrade this month. Okay. So that's a little bit of loosening up, is saying, well, I'll pay the $300 extra a month and I'll have a nicer apartment. Okay, that would be an example of doing that. So you have done it. Semi-liquid investments, Roth, brokerage. You should not be having a brokerage account until you are in step 7. So again, I had an apartment, so probably not. Doesn't own a house. So it just depends on where you are in the baby steps. At 332 total. Yeah, again, you should not have the brokerage account. The Roth and the 401k, the retirement accounts are fine, but the extra investing is a no until you are in baby step 7. And if you decide you're just going to live in an apartment for the rest of your life and you're never going to want to buy a house, then you're on step 7. Congratulations. Let's see. I'm having trouble relaxing out of gazelle intensity. We rarely turn down a side hustle gig, babysitting, dog sitting, etc. Okay. Well, you can, that just gives you more money that you can feel better about spending then. The apartment upgrade made me feel uneasy. Oh, okay. Well, hey, man. But you did do it, though. So Cool. So you just need to make peace with it. Never had a place. Maybe the missus wanted to do it more than you did, and you agreeing to it. I mean, that's not really a compromise unless she wanted to go 1,000 more over, and you talked her down to $300 more a month instead of 1,000 more a month. So maybe you talked her down. Whatever, that was your agreement, and your agreement would, of course, trump the Ramsey advice, because you'd probably like to stay married. So you have to communicate and, of course, compromise about things when you're not on the same page. Lived in micro studios or bad areas. Yep. Even buying little things at grocery store, like $18 large bag of nuts. Or, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Or $30 worth of steak makes me pause. Yeah, I just don't do that. I'm single though, so it is kind of different, but I don't buy a whole bunch of stuff at one time. Even I'll stock up on, some small things if it's not that much money total. I will do that. Like soft drinks, like 2 liters. I will get 2 liters of the Kroger brand. That is less than half of the Coke brand, for example. But yeah, I'll buy when they're on sale. I will buy more than usual of them. So I do it on some things, but I hear you. I hear you why you wouldn't like it. But again, I would just the good thing is that you have a wife, and maybe if she's not like that, if she's not still about gazelle intensity, then she's a good barometer for yourself. Maybe she wants to go too loose. She wants to loosen up too much. And so if you just meet her halfway, that's probably a good line for you. Oh, makes me pause, which I then get the look from my wife. Yeah. I'm not gonna click on the rest of it. It's baby step 4, so it's an apartment. Maybe she wants to buy a house. That would be the main thing. That would be the main thing, because you do not want to loosen up too much if you are trying to save a down payment for a house. So that would be it. Actually, I lied to you. Sorry about that. I know friends don't lie. Stranger Things, season 5 this week. I know friends don't lie, but I wasn't going to, but I just want to see if it says anything about no, guys, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Can you give me some tips? Women do be giving that look, don't they? Can you give me some tips to help with it? I know we can technically afford it, but I'm having trouble still. Thanks in advance. And again, that would be something that I would be thinking about. If you are also trying to save for a down payment, the more you loosen up, and the more money you spend on fun things or extra things that are not needed, not 100% needed to live, then that's going to be longer for you to be saving for your down payment. Make sure I'm still centered, close enough. All right. Close. I said close. There we go. Need advice. Souls games for life. All right. Need advice. All right. I'll give you advice. I make around $70K a year before taxes in Missouri at $26 an hour. I'm in a huge. It's huge. A lot of people make mistakes. A lot of wonderful people making mistakes. And purchased a home for $175,000 at a 7.75 interest rate. Due to poor plumbing, our savings were wiped out in the first year, and now I'm paying on a loan for a new HVAC for $7K. We're 3 years into owning the home. With payments and repairs, we can't seem to save anything. Should I try to refinance now at 6.5? Probably not gonna with a 3.5K fee. No, probably not. It's probably not worth it. Probably not gonna worth it. You're gonna have to wait till it comes down more. Or should I look for a cheaper place? You could do that. If you had no business getting a 175K house anyway, you don't, I mean, it's bad luck for your plumbing to have a problem and you need a new HVAC too. And also, did you need a new HVAC? That's always my thing. Did you have one guy out to look at it and take his word on it that you needed a new one? But you could look for a cheaper place, as I said, if you're already house poor. 26 an hour, and you said hour savings. So what does the wife, hopefully, and not just bought it with a girlfriend, because it does say hour savings, so would need to know what's going on with that. Supporting a family of 4, yep, and can't make the math work to do more than stay afloat. 26 an hour, family of 4, 175 isn't a crazy mortgage. But then when you put something like the plumbing and the HVAC in there, that is gonna take a toll. You say if you can't do work more than stay afloat, with those things, and you're already paying, you got a loan, and getting a loan for the HVAC wouldn't have been the advice anyway, even if you did actually need an HVAC, new HVAC. We did add a fence. See, you didn't have to do that. That was your choice. And Pine doing the labor ourselves, that was still money. So you did that crap. So I believe the home value is 190 to 200K. Okay, if you can't make it, go ahead and do that. But you would know that better than I. No car payment, Mint mobile phones. No, what else? Terrible spending habits like gambling. Great, but you still. So does the missus work? Or is there a missus? Or is it just you and kids? And you just said hour savings by mistake, or unless the kids are working and taking extra shifts like Jonathan did in the first season of Stranger Things. So he wasn't home when Will vanished. Sorry, spoiler alert, way back from season 1. So yeah, I would have to have a little bit more information before I could say exactly what I would do. But you can always move down in house if you think you bought too much house. But it also could be, there could be two. You're talking about you can't make the math work to do more than stay afloat. People are nutty with their budgets, and sometimes they act like they can't take out stuff that they can take out. They think stuff is a need that it is not actually a need. It's just a want. And so I would have to have more information here. But if you want to move down in-house, you certainly can do that. Perhaps should have bought a cheaper house to begin with. Consumer Mr. 82222. Consumer proposal, Canada, to help pay down debt. Yeah, that's what they call, I guess, bankruptcy. That's their version of bankruptcy in Canada, is a consumer proposal. So like the consumer, it would be like a chapter 13, I think, is the 13 here. That is the, I keep my stuff or most of my stuff, and then I make some kind of arrangements to pay it off. So I think that's basically it. Anyone familiar with consumer proposal for debt relief? And so that wouldn't be the advice. That would not be the advice to file bankruptcy. It's the same thing. So that wouldn't be the advice either. Should this be considered as an option for paying down debt? No, it should be your last option. your first option should be stop buying stupid crap and send that money to people you owe money to. Instead, does that feel like for me that it's illegal, but literally isn't? It's an ad for something. For a savings app, probably of some type, which may or may not be a scam. Who knows? Adventurous Doctor 767, should I sell my inherited furniture? If you're not using it, you can sell whatever you want. If you're not too attached to it, or if it doesn't, remind you of the person that gave it to you, that left it to you, so much. Let's read and see what's up. Hi everyone, hi guys. I figure that this is the best place to ask a question like this because Dave's people would have a good understanding of the interplay between relationship, emotional, and financial situations at play here. Sure, and all that's going to be there. But like if you have debt, you should probably sell it to pay off the debt. So long story short, I live in South Africa and currently working extremely hard to pay off my debt. So yeah, if you have debt, probably yeah. And if you don't need that furniture, like I have that table that I don't ever use, but I'm hanging on to it in case my son wants it ever. I won't say never use, but hardly ever. I just, being single, I don't do that. Now, if my kids come visit, that kind of thing, then of course, we would use it. But in my last apartment that I was in for a year, from the previous October to this past October, I had it in my garage at that apartment. I don't get a garage here. That's all right. Turned a 30-minute commute into an 8-minute commute. So loving that. And it's a nicer apartment. Also, it has a little thing called Heat. The other one did as well, but it sucked. Where were we? Back to the question and less about me. In the past year, I've cleared a loan in my credit card that together was $40,000 or $2,400 with the current exchange rate. Thank you for giving us a relation tool there, so we know how much it is. And I still have my car loan of $5,300. Also did it there. Great. That I have to clear. I, however, recently moved in with my boyfriend. That's not the advice, sweetie. And the money I wanted to put between the car, typo probably. The O is next to the P. Check to make sure I wasn't having dementia yet. Not today, dementia. Put towards my car now goes to my living costs. Why? Where were you living? Were you living with mommy and daddy before that? And so you had no living costs? I would think you would have some kind of living costs if you were living on your own. I'm still making my monthly payments, but in terms of extra cash, I don't really have a lot. I make about $9,400 a year. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but in South Africa, that is the average for lower middle class. Okay, well then you ought to be able to make that work unless you are having to pay half, for example, of a lower middle class or a more than lower middle class apartment or mortgage. And I also have a company on the side that I use to substitute my income, that I use to what's the word? There's a word I think that starts with yes. It means like add to the income. I can't remember it now, so I can't blame this person for not knowing it either. Substitute my income. This year has been a good one for the company in terms of clearing the debt there. But there was also a few emergency situations. All right, so basically you don't do debt for starting a business, so you did it wrong. That's not the advice. So yeah, you probably put yourself in a situation where you should definitely sell the inherited furniture, especially if there's no room for it in the boyfriend's house. But again, you shouldn't be doing that either. Shouldn't be shacking up until you get married. Yeah, married. That's from a movie called 16 Candles. Highly recommended. Also, speaking of John Hughes, filmmaker John Hughes, if you haven't seen it, watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Lovely Thanksgiving movie. There's also a few emergency situations. Was it really an emergency? So both my and my company's emergency funds are at 0. So December is going to be tight. Well, you shouldn't be using emergency fund to make things not tight. You're doing it wrong. Anyway, my question, I have a few furniture pieces that I inherited from my father's side by proxy of my uncle giving it to me after his divorce. He didn't have space for it anymore, and now maybe you don't either, though. And he gifted these items to me. I can get a few thousand for these items. That would help greatly to restart my emergency fund. Do it. But I also worry about the family impact as my father might feel like. For me, he's losing the last few things that he has to hold on to his parents. So it was originally his father's parents, or your father's parents, and then they gave it to your father's brother, and then he gave it to you. Well, you can also give it to him if he's the one that wants to have it. You would like debt paid off more, so I would give it to him, not that you have to be custodian of it, just so he has something to hold on as part of his parents. So yeah, I get the emotional stuff, but debt is a time where other things need to win over emotional. Good sense needs to win over emotional stuff for things that are not needed. I also have good memories around these furniture items, but at current, I can't even imagine being in a space where I can put them in my house. Yeah, so where are they? Are you paying for storage for them too? The inheritance would mean more for me in terms of money than pieces of wood gathering dust in a garage somewhere. Yeah. Can anyone please help me with approaching this? Yeah, I would sell it or give them to your father, and he has to store them somewhere if he doesn't have room in his dwelling for it. Yeah. So, hashtag boundaries. Paging Dr. Cloud. Paging Dr. Cloud. He wrote a book called Boundaries. Kusu. Something like that. Do I put majority of money in my savings? No, you put, well, it depends on if your expenses are going to be the majority. Savings is not a thing, really, depending on what baby step you're on. Let's see. I have $98K in my bank account with $10K in my savings with a good HYSA, high yield savings account. It can immediately transfer in and out instantly. Would it be worth it to put my money from checking to my savings? Say, for example, put 50K in there and keep the rest in my checking. I'm all new to this. Okay. Well, as far as savings, you should just have your full emergency fund. But if you have debt, you shouldn't have that. So you would follow the baby steps. And the only time you would have extra savings other than for the full emergency fund is for a sinking fund, which is for a known upcoming expense, not just for a slush fund or oh, I just wanted to have extra money. That's not a thing. But other than a sinking fund, again, for a known upcoming expense that can't be cash flowed that particular month. You have to save up in advance for it. Do that for sure. But the emergency fund and those sinking funds would be the only savings until you're on step 7. So if you're not on step 7, you need to take care of the other steps first. So like if you have debt, there's no extra savings other than the $1,000 if you have non-mortgage debt. So you would be doing it wrong, and being all new to it, it's very easy to believe that you might be doing it wrong. It's just jelly. Not sure what to do about mortgage. Let's see. Just got my first house, 7.5 interest rate locked. Please don't say it was a 30-year loan. Please don't say it was a 30-year loan. Please don't say it was a 30-year loan. 15-year fixed only. If you have to get a 30-year mortgage in order to afford the payment, can you imagine what that means in Ramsey land? That means you cannot afford that house. Too much house for you. Should I pay my house off early and throw all I have to pay it off, or wait until I can refi with a lower interest rate? No, you're trying to play with interest rate. Is debt leverage. You're doing debt leverage. If you have cash, you pay it off. You're so dumb. As I'm writing this, I realize that paying it off early kind of vetoes the interest rate. You mean it negates it? It negates the interest rate talk. Yeah, you won't be paying any interest on it. Quit being dumb. Quit being dumb. Baby step 6. That's what he says he's on. Got the baby step 6 flare here. Fortunately, this person liked to talk about their flare. They put it on here. Baby step 6. It says pay the home off early, you idiot. That's what it says to do. What fell? Something fell back there. Did my camera stay in the spot, or did it move? Close enough. Yeah. So you're doing it right. Where to put extra money? You put it wherever on the whatever baby step you're on. Kurt Man with 3 N's. Where to put extra money? Net household income, 10,500. None of this matters. None of this matters. None of it matters. None of it matters. The amounts for stuff doesn't matter. Just we know does have a car payment. So guess what? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they have a car payment? Does say any other debt? $350 for cell phones and iPads. Idiots. Yeah, debt mentioned again. 90K in credit lines, and they said another part of 2,600 in a different debt that they're not saying what it is. That I want gone. Okay, well that's where it goes. Extra money is supposed to go to your lowest amount of debt. Straight to debt or save half or all. No, there's no saving. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. What is it? 3 kids, all boys, and in hockey, I guess that I really didn't budget for. They might not get to be in hockey. Sorry, they might have to quit hockey until you're in a better situation with money. Because being in hockey is not a need, is it? So straight to debt, yes. You say have $1,000 in your starter emergency fund, and that's all you have. And hockey is not an emergency. My wife has pension, and my job matches RRSP contributions. If neither of you are required to invest, you would stop that until you don't have any debt and you have a full emergency fund. Because investing, guess what? Again, make sure it hasn't changed since I haven't done a show since Monday. It's almost been a week. Invest 15% for household income into retirement. Okay. And yeah, that's step 4. So that does not happen. So if you're already doing it when you start the baby steps, guess what you do? You stop it. You undo whatever dumb crap you were doing, and you follow the advice exactly is how it works. So that would be the deal, which has already been accounted for in the net household income. Yeah, it shouldn't be. You're doing it wrong. Do not do that. Some jobs you have to, like a teacher has to put money, contribute money to the pension. That's just part of the job. But if it's an option for either or both of you, you stop it until you are debt free and you have a full emergency fund. Plastic resolution. I've been following the debt snowball. It feels endless. Send me words of encouragement. Well, don't have so much debt. Figure out that you don't like the debt happening until it, before it gets to that big of a number. Let's see, February 25, starting credit card balance is $60,893. Oh, February 2025, that's when they started 60, and now it is to 30. So that's not quite half, but maybe by the end of the year, maybe with the rest of November and December, maybe you can have it down even lower than that or even paid off. I've been following the debt snowball since February, and it felt amazing in the beginning, knocking out the small balances. But now I'm staring down the biggest balances. Well, it's your dumbass fault for taking out big loans or having big balances on credit cards. That was dumb as crap. So now you got to pay the stupid tax, which means you get to not like it. Tough crap that you don't like it. The ones that don't budge and it feels endless, it's not. They're budgeting. They're budging the amount of money that you're sending. Hey, guess what? If you want to send more money, cut some stuff out of your budget more, or work more, or sell some stuff that you don't use that you have just laying around. That is dumb. Maybe some stuff that you bought with the freaking credit cards that you did not need. I know this is the part that matters most. Yes, it is, but it's also the part that's testing me the hardest. Hey, guess what? If you can't handle it, you can give up. It would be dumb to stop. You remember when you started for that reason. That reason hasn't changed. It's just more difficult now. Tough crap. Be an adult. If anyone's gone through this phase and pushed through, I'd love some encouragement. My goal payoff date, July 8, 2026. Great. That's not that long. You're so dumb. People really are dumb. You are so dumb. You're saying it feels endless. You just have this as the goal. And that must be at the rate you're doing now. And you could even do it faster if you, like I said, cut other stuff out of your budget and work more. You could do that if you aren't already doing both of those things. But if not, then this is what you've projected. And that's only 8 more months from now. 8 more months is not endless. Don't be stupid. Realize that 8 more months equals not endless. It equals 8 more months. So, yeah, I mean, that's not really words of encouragement telling you not to be stupid, but you're being stupid by thinking about that. You know, whining like a little baby almost. I don't like doing it now that I'm not getting enough wins because it's not but that's exactly why they say smallest to largest, because it keeps people on the plan by not having to wait for big numbers until they get a win. Start with the smallest one, so that one gets paid off pretty quickly. And so you see how it works. And it still works like that, but you were the dumbass that took out $60,000 in credit card debt. For what? And for what? Like I said, sell some of that stuff if you're not using it regularly that you bought with it. Hopefully it wasn't all on fast food or restaurants or something like that you can't even sell now because all that's bye-bye. So, yeah. So quit being dumb. Again, payoff date, you have it right here. You have everything that you need in your head. You know what's going on here. You have a grasp of the situation. And you should quit being a little baby and whining about it taking a long time, because it's just 8 months. Got it? It's just 8 months. It's not endless. Quit being dumb. Those are not the endless, and 8 months are not the same. So that's not a good bedside manner, probably. A lot of people might say that, but I don't do the feel good stuff here. It feels good to me when you get off your ass and quit being dumb and pay off your debt that you shouldn't have gotten in the first place. I shouldn't have taken out mine. Guess what I did when I went through this stuff? I'm not just saying to do it. I actually did this stuff as well. And did I half-ass it? No. Did I whine about it? No. Once I started doing it, I started late too. Like 10 years after I first found out about it and agreed that absolutely this is the best thing to do. No, I thought it didn't apply to me. Like people say now that call the show or that comment about it. They think it doesn't apply to them because, and I was the same, because the average person that calls makes more money than I do. So I thought it didn't apply to me, but guess what? It does. No matter how much you make, it still applies to you. Let's see. So probably Monday through Wednesday, I think I'll be able to do after shows, 11:05 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And what will we be talking about? Skip paying collection / close accounts. Through more. That would be throw, my friend. THROW. Speaking of being dumb. More at open credit card and card payment. Yes, anything in collection or closed accounts, that would go to the end of the debt snowball. Woody Cheesecake. Is Dave Ramsey's envelope system still a good idea for saving money? Or is it not something people do these days? No, well, the envelope system is to keep you on budget. That means you say, here's the amount of money we're going to spend on the grocery store this month, and you put that much in an envelope and write grocery on it. And so guess what? You buy groceries out of that envelope, and when that envelope is empty, you better have all the groceries you need for the month. Otherwise, you did it wrong. You bought dumb groceries instead. Or you were unrealistic with what you need to feed your family. That happens too. Let's see, Portland or affordability. If you can't live somewhere, you don't get to live there. You don't get a pass on math based on where you were born. Or where you want to live, or where you have family. Sorry, life doesn't work that way. Sometimes you can be born in Portland and you can somehow not have a job that you can afford to live there. And the Portland subreddit was removed immediately. Well, they're probably not trying to have any bad sayings about Portland. Oh, and this person deleted their account even after this. Interesting. After putting this here. All right, so we'll read this, though. The post won't get deleted, though. But, yeah, you can't afford it. So you need to move. There's no simpler as that. We'll read all the little stuff, though, I think, maybe. Sometimes they say, I'm not going to read it, because you don't need to. You don't need to, because nothing the person types, like in this situation, probably nothing this person types changes anything about this advice, which is you need to make more money or move. Those are the two options. Stuck in need help. Stuck between saving potentially $500 to put towards 1K emergency fund and buying a new pair of boots. Nope. Are shot and been through the ringer, and currently it's raining like crazy. If they have holes in it, fine. It is winter. Buy new boots. Buy cheaper ones than $500 then. Don't be dumb. People are so dumb. I get it. Yeah, we'll be $130 to $160 at most. Buy the 130 ones then, or cheaper, of boots. Yes, and the rest you put towards your 1K emergency fund. 25 email, 220,000, excuse me, of debt. Would Dutch I tackle it first? Sell the car? Thank you. Most time when they ask, it's yes, sell the car, and it's smallest to largest, as it says on baby step 2. Already checked, not going to check again. About the stock market. Is unloading cash into stock market to pull out for a car or house payment in 2 to 4 years a good plan? No, you pay instead of saving up a lump sum, whether in the market or in a savings account, to then save up a lump sum and then pay something off is dumb as crap. No, you put that money towards the car or house down payment immediately. But, to pull out for you're using it to save for, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was a car payment already or to pay the house down. My bad. So in this case, yes, if you're saving it, you have to, not 2 to 4 years though, you have to have at least 5 years to use the market as a piggy bank. It's just because anything less than 5 years, it has much more a chance of being down right when you want the money. In pretty much every 5-year period, the market has been at least even or up. So that would be that. Wedding under 10K, yes. Do it under 10K. Do it under 5K. Do it at the Justice of the Peace. I don't care about that. The reason for the wedding is the wedding, not the princess treatment. And debt-free journey, $3,191.66 left to go. Great. Do you cash in investments to buy a car? You pay in cash. So maybe if you don't have enough cash on hand and you have investments, again, you should not be having extra investments other than retirement until you're on step 7. So this person doing it wrong probably. Should we put money in our Roths? In managed mutual funds? As I said, 4-way split, small, mid, large cap, and international managed mutual fund that beats those indexes. Auto loan question. I'll have an auto loan answer. New job. Need to get my life together. Yes, I recommended getting your life together. Job is all I have. Looking for advice. Okay, we'll dive in and see what all that's about. All right, what's more? Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you are having money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and we will do that appointment via Google Meet or some other video conferencing thing. We'll work out the time. My schedule changes too much to just to update a website every so often. So don't do that anymore. Donations go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, a Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. That same email address. You can also email me about any financial questions or anything else on my YouTube channel. Upcoming streams, as always, subject to change. Ramsey Show After Show, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to try my darndest to do these Monday through Wednesday, November 24th to 26th this week, Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And answering your financial questions streams, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Saturday and or Sunday. Did not do Saturday night this week. I was working, but did Sunday. Was off. Alrighty, and as you can see, baby steps 1, 2, and 3 in order, one at a time. No doing higher steps early. Baby steps 4, 5, and 6 in order, all 3 at the same time, but still in that priority order. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.